they do pick up the Lina in this next phase. So they've got Lina line, great control, great burst. They've got Finger and Laguna to work with here to take care of whatever MY might want to bring out that's tanky. They can rip that Luna down to shreds very fast if they actually do just want to get the gank going. So if they focus on that safe lane, get level 6 on the Lina, get the stuns off with the Lion Timb, they can just melt the Luna quite quick. And that's something MY has to be a bit careful about. MY, they go into the Clockwork, so that's looking to be a support still. The Brewmaster, I think with a Clockwork support, you could still do it on, say, a pause 5 clock, pause 4 Brew, but I think it kind of shifts towards feels like it should shift off lane just because you don't have the hardest stuns outside Lucent Beam. I guess Battery Assault is nice. Cogs can still break TPs, but dual melee supports like this just feel slightly awkward for setting up.
I don't think I mind it. Here's what I'm thinking, John. I'm thinking Brewmaster Luna safe lane, right? You get the Cinder Brew, you pop it with the Lucent Beam. It's very, very easy and it's very annoying. I think pause 4 clock was probably going to be the way to go, but you can switch them up. But you're always going to have the hookshot to initiate here, and I think it is a decent enough clock game. Like, I'm looking at this Lion Lina. It's really annoying to be against the clock when you're playing these two heroes, right? Because you haven't got that natural mobility. So as soon as the hookshot's there, he's just going to be this annoying factor. And this, okay, never mind, it's a pause 4 Brewmaster. This Iron Shell Darkseer Brewmaster lane is so disgusting, John. I would know because I ran it today in one of my pubs. It is one of the most annoying lanes to have to play against. Because Iron Shell pops the Cinder Brew, and Brewmaster loves running up to people. But either way, Clockwork does the same. It's a great, no matter who you put as the pause 4 now, both these heroes really like the Darkseer.
Yeah, they've got great synergy coming out from MY. And it's shaping up to be nice. I think the only worry you have here for MY is the Phoenix, like Lilgun's potential in team fights with the egg. You've basically got 3 melee heroes outside of Luna to try to hit the egg. So if they position this egg properly on Lilgun's side, it should be well protected enough to just get the entire duration off and get the stun. I think MY is going to have to be a bit careful of that, a bit leery of that, but it's a lot of pressure on the Phoenix. MY's lanes are just looking really good. Even a Clockwork Luna lane, I think we've seen that a couple of times before, maybe Pro Series 4, where we saw this combination come out. And if you play aggressive, there is a lot of good damage that can come true, especially with what we've seen from some Lunas opting for the Aura build in lane. Clockwork, his right-click damage is pretty good. And you amp that up, you can run down, get the isolation with the cogs, get some good hits off. Lilgun have to be cautious. Like as you mentioned, Clockwork can just isolate out the line and Lina down the line. Once he has his level 6 up, the key thing is hitting that 6 spike, but on the 4, not an issue. On the 5, maybe a bit slower, but if you play your lane right, you shouldn't be slowing down too much. And they kind of leave a lot of room here for their mid pickup. Like for Lilgun, looks like they will be forced to run the Lina mid. I don't see too much flexibility. Maybe a Lina off lane with Timbersaw mid, but it feels like for the most part you should be fine with Lina mid. But MY can opt to take decent matchups there, like just something that can farm from range, something that can spam out in the creep wave as well. For MY's part, a lot of heroes kind of fit that bill. If they want some push, the DP can get that done. The Spirit Brothers can hold its, every one of them can kind of hold their own against Alina for the most part, if they want to go for that mobility to follow up in the Clockwork's movement. So it's fairly open for MY to close out in Lilgun. They're looking for their pause 1 win condition. And we'll have to see what they do figure out as the Ricky comes out, and that is just one great way to handle the Lina. They've got such great lanes coming out from MY. The biggest issue I see is still the Phoenix, but it's just so much pressure to put onto that support Phoenix. Like, he has to get a really good egg in every single engagement up against these 4 melee heroes. But if it falls flat, then everything else around Lilgun is not quite lined up. I guess on the Lion's end, you could argue 3 melee heroes are easier to kind of Earth Spike and play against, but Lilgun do close out with a Viper. So looks like it's the safe lane Viper, X123 playing that, and that is kind of one way to get more aggression out for Lilgun. It doesn't quite tie into team fight, but up against 4 melee heroes, Viper tends to kind of enjoy twacking away and orb walking across them.
He does. It is going to be the pause 4 clock, and I was going to say this. I kind of prefer you run the pause 4 clock with the Darkseer because Battery Assault Cogs is going to be much more effective. And with the Brewmaster, Leonak is going to work better with the Luna, because Cinderbrew plus Lucent Beam to pop the Cinderbrew are going to be very, very annoying. Mind you, oh, it's a POS 1 Viper.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, how do you feel
for
about that,
X123.
John?
I don't mind it. I think it's an all right spot to be in. You will have to be cautious about being run down by the Darkseer clock. At the same time, you've got good range advantage. You can kind of bully out the Darkseer with your poison attack, clear out the first wave with Nether Toxin. It gives them more activity from the POS 1. Like, you're not going to need to farm up on X123 all too much. And I think they need to do that. Like, they understand with MY's draft, MY's just going to look to run them down. So they need a core that can get damage out, can stand its ground in the mid game, with only 1 or 2 items up. The Viper is one of those heroes. Now, it doesn't give them great scaling towards the late game.
No.
And that is going to have to be taken up by their Lina. And I think I would prefer to see the usual build up for Lina, maybe something like the Yules, Travels, maybe even if you want to be active on a map. Then you have to go right click. Like, you have to go for the Daedalus build we see sometimes. Just go all in to be scaling towards the late if it reaches that point. Lilgun has to be careful as MY have that same situation where they've got a great win condition, they've got great activity from the rest of their cores. They only need to worry about like one big team fight spell, and they just have to constantly remember to declump in these fights. Like, as long as they're split up and not get caught out as tree with an Earth Spike, then you should still feel pretty good in MY's draft.
Yeah. I do tend to agree with you on that. I mean, the Viper going to have a decent enough laning stage, but after that, it kind of is like, what does this hero really do? You know, does it do enough? Maybe you can rely on the laner mid. Sanctity could do a great job as well, but they have the catch for it. I mean, you're against Ricky Clockwork Darks. It's not an easy lane for a draft like this from Lilgun.
When you play with Lina,
Does feel like their backs were against the wall when they had to make that Viper pickup. See if they can make this one work. Of course, if they don't win this game too, then they are knocked out of the close qualifier, and MY will proceed through to the lower bracket final. At least if they can force it to a game 3, try to get something done as Ace 12, asleep at the wheel, but he's... Oh no, Tigger! He cuts him off with the battery assault. They aren't going to be able to get the kill. It won't matter in the end, but they do force the Icarus dive level 1 from Ace 12, which is certainly something he doesn't want.
Yeah, that's a pretty atrocious start for Lilgun. Like, you're not going to get that early lane harassment out from your Phoenix. Ace 12 will have to walk home to regen up. I mean, he could stick around the tower, eat a couple of tangos as well. It looks like he will just opt to do that instead. And you can see the movement out from Tigger. He's just trying to spot out if someone's coming back in. TP is committed to make it into that lane, and we will see that dual lane of Phoenix Viper. If you had Fire Spirits, I would say this is a pretty nice lane to play around in terms of damage output early on, especially once you hit that level 2 spike. Now you will have to wait for level 2, and Ace is just going to have to soak some EXP away. The Nether Toxin should give X123 a decent enough time clearing out the first wave, but you have to be patient. You have to be very cautious of when you see Seri and when you see Tigger run in on the clock, because it's that classic offlane combination. Battery Assault, Iron Shell, it's not fun for either of these heroes to kind of deal with.
No, it definitely isn't. Of course, over in the mid lane, you've got BB there along with Sanctity, and this should be a Sanctity favored lane. Not a very fun lane for the Ricky. Naturally, having such a kind of long range on that Lina is going to be a little bit annoying to contest, but if you keep your distance, you just try to secure some CS and try not to get caught out by the Light Strike Array, you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, we've seen Ricky's kind of just work this mid lane really well. The matchup against Lina, as you said, isn't too bad. You can play around with Blink Strike. You can just focus on your last hits, focus on your denies, and Sanctity's just... he misses out on a lot. Like, that's the one thing you don't want to see as a Lina. And BB's just getting a little bit more, and it's showing in the CS as well. 7-2 compared to the 6-1. It's still the first few waves, but it already sets a bit of a slower tone here for Sanctity.
Yeah, I mean, he missed that range creep because of that uphill miss. Baby was trying to force him to use the Dragon Slave and Sanctity. He just kind of gambled and unfortunately lost for his own sake. So, gets a bit punished for it. And even the Water Rune, I believe, was taken by Tigger. And yeah, it was. So he doesn't even get that Water Rune at 2 minutes in. He's not too low on HP anyway. He probably would have liked the mana if anything, but he won't be able to get it. BB does at least pick his own up. And we'll have a look at the top lane as well, where you've got KMP and Leonak, you've got Nomlog and Hishki. Should be a decent enough lane for the side of Lilgun, but I suppose for KMP, you can't really slow him down too much. He should be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's some aggressive potential here if, again, you manage to line up the Earth Spike into the Timber Chain and Whirling Death. It looks like Lilgun's already ready for a bit of a slower lane. KNP is just using his range advantage well. The Lunar Blessing's there, and he can be aggressive with a Brewmaster if they want, but Leonak's just leaving that lane. He knows that as long as the wave is shoved up to the tower, KNP is relatively safe. He's got good regen. They don't go for the Whirling Death. Oh,
And he found a double. They left 2 bounty runes, John. He got 2 of them. That's not good. And now Sanctity's going to get jumped on. BB, he's in there with the Blink Strike. They do go for the Thunderclap. And Sanctity, he's going to try and fight back, but the tricks of the trade are there. Everyone's so darn low, though. And Sanctity does survive. It seems like MY, they get a little bit too excited. And they do actually end up beating a kill the way of Sanctity. Unfortunately for this laner, though, he's going to realize the hard way there's no bounty for him. He's going back to the fountain.
Yeah. Has to be cautious. BB dropping fairly low. The stuns coming through under tower is pretty good, but no follow-up. Still, with the side lane rotations out, they do manage to get a bit more aggression here on the bot lane. X123 does manage to clean up while the Darkseer is left alone, so it's a bit of a good start for Lilgun in terms of finding the kills. MY have to watch themselves when they overcommit like that. You can't underestimate the early game output of Lilgun as well. It is up there, and it's a Viper on safely. It's supposed to play fast.
Yep, certainly so. Yeah, X123, I mean, he's going to be fine. He's securing quite a bit of CS. He'll be happy with that. Just trying to go for that Falcon Blade. Pretty standard itemization, I suppose, if you're playing POS 1 Viper. Top lane. They were trying to get a little bit aggressive there onto Hishki, but it's only level 2 on the Brewmaster. Oh, he's level 3, but he hasn't used the skill point in either Cinderbrew or the Thunderclap. Now he does. That's a substantial amount more damage that you're going to be able to throw out onto this line. Still, all things being said and done, I guess based off this draft, top and bot lane are going very well right now for Lilgun. So they're off to a very good start. Hell, even the mid lane, you do have Sanctity ahead. So the laning stage is certainly just going the way of Lilgun. Because now, Tigger is going to rotate in. Doesn't actually have the cogs leveled up. He's just going to try and go with the battery assault, but he might give another kill away. Sanctity, luckily, doesn't have enough mana for Dragon Slave. Otherwise, that would have been another kill going the way of Delena for free.
Yeah, and MY, they're really just trying to get so much activity on the map that it feels like they're giving out too much in lanes. Every single hero on Lilgun's side is top of CS right now. Sanctity, X123, and Nomlog have managed to kind of secure that for themselves. KNP, in comparison, being left alone, he's not under threat of dying, but his CS, because he's playing relatively safe, is held back, and it just means that your Luna's going to have to really dig into that jungle down the line.
KNP trying to get aggressive now onto Nomlog, who was left alone and looks like he should die. He'll go for a salve. Ooh, that was a... He tried to juke that one out. Leonak was trying to be very patient to give the kill over to KNP, but at least they even get a salve usage. However, mid lane, BB still gets out. He's alive. Dragon Slave not going to connect either. It's about a millimeter away from actually connecting onto BB, but he does survive another day.
Yeah, it's a pretty good move out from MY. Sanctity, unfortunately, first Laguna doesn't line up. Fortunately for him, it's a fairly low cooldown, so you can just wait for it to go off, look to move again. And they are aware that X123 is kind of playing in the jungle, and BB's invis now, so he can kind of snipe out here.
Oh, X123, that's your safe lane Viper, but he can still try to fight back. You don't really have that much damage on BB, but you have enough, and that's all that matters. Very, very impactful kill there from our Ricky, who you would have expected would be back at the fountain right now. Meanwhile, top lane, Leonak, he's going to be chased, but Eclipse is there. They do kill off Hishki. Leonak, he's going to try and run and buy some more time as KMP gets to work, and Nomlog's going to give up on it. He'll turn onto KMP instead, but he's not going to dive for it. He'll just let both of them go.
Giving kills like that towards MY is certainly not the way to go here for Lilgun. Like, that helps KNP recover. He's got the level advantage now, and you can opt to just go away. He knows the lane's going to be clumped up now. With rotations out, they spotted Sanctity coming in mid with this nice forward ward. So they know the push is coming out. Pull to safety, gets informed Luna. No glaives though, so for KNP, clearing the jungle it's not going to be as quick, but Leonak's really making Sanctity waste time here.
Well, he might at least... Oh, he did spot him. He found him for a second there, Leonak. He's going to die. So Sanctity, he does get something... Oh no, he actually didn't. Nomlock took the kill. Well, I guess he could work towards the tier 1 top tower. So not all is lost here for Lilgun. Everything's still fine. They even have the net worth lead by 1k, so things are still going very well. The thing is, though, this draft is meant to escalate after the laning stage, so you do want this net worth graph and this net worth lead to keep going. However, Sanctity, you've got to back out here, sir, Leonak. Can you get the Thunderclap? The wall, it doesn't connect. The Thunderclap doesn't either. Now Sanctity, he's going to try for the TP, but the vacuum, it is there from Seri, and that'll mean this Lina is going to be in a lot of trouble as they do take her down. And now Nomlong, he's going to try and find his way out, but it looks like there is going to be no way out. Chains? Oh, he's too tanky. They'll leave him be. BB though, he's having a look. Instead, Hishki, he's just going to freely run in. Now X123's here with a haste rune. BB's going to get to work on the Lion, trying to snipe himself a kill, but they got the Hex out. It was all too greedy, and they are going to die for it. Hishki's still alive in all this. KMP, he's going to try and run, and it looks like he is going to make it.
Ooh. It's just a bit too keen coming out from MY. Lilgun managing to actually get some pretty good kills.
Oh, they're all going for the Hishki bait. They want that line so damn bad, but they aren't going to get it.
Yeah, they have to be cautious about kind of tunnel visioning there. Giving a bit too much for Lilgun to play around with. I mean, they've got the tower, they got the kills. There's no counter push coming out from MY, so their map isn't as well controlled right now compared to what Lilgun has on hand. They're starting to get some space out for Sanctity to build up some farm, as he's still lagging behind. He's got the triangle to play with, a couple of ancient stacks, a couple of large camp stacks, is rushing into the travel. So we are seeing the travels fly out from both X123 and Sanctity. They're trying to get that activity on the map, get themselves into the lanes, constantly force the fights. Once your Lena's able to do that as well, I think that's where Lilgun starts to really reel in the aggression. For MY, it's time to really just give KNP that space in the jungle to farm up. He's going towards the Dragonlance, isn't too far off from finishing that up, and he's got some space in his triangle and the bot lane. They will need to look to get a push going at some point to really secure some space for KNP. Otherwise, you always run the risk of running into one of those Boots of Travel heroes down the line in the lane.
Lane. And why? Smoke up. They want to try and make their way into the triangle, but X123 is going to break the smoke. Still a nice hook shot in from Tigger with the Cogs pushback. They will drop the egg. Now the egg should just be ignored as the Earth Spike. It does come out as well. Hishki, he'll take down Tigger. Now the egg can explode. It will go onto the Brewlings only, though. Sanctity is still being chased down by Leonak. Can they actually get down this Lina? She's going to double damage rune, but she may not be able to actually get the damage out as the Laguna is there, but they do burst her down. Ace, though, he does get to work. He'll find Leonak, and now onto BB. They won't have enough. Still has some stick charges available. And I've got to tell you, MY, they are really playing on the edge here. I mean, these fights are very risky and dangerous. It does feel like it could go either way, and look at BB. He's still looking for... He wants another target, but he's underneath the sentry ward right now. He's going to blink in. He gets the courier, but the Earth Spike's there. BB!
Never die. They just...
It's too much, BB. Take it easy, sir. Hit some creeps.
Yeah. The aggression from MY is, as you said, they are playing on the edge. They are getting punished a bit. Like that fight, if BB didn't die, that's a clear win. Because they got the Viper, they got the Lina, they got the big cores, and they managed to force out the egg. It wasn't actually as effective as you'd think, even though they trapped up a couple of heroes. Not quite the heroes they wanted to trap up. And MY, they're still playing at the deficit. 2k lead still is up for Lilgun, so they should be happy about X123.
Oh, no hook shot. They didn't have vision. They got it at the last second, but... Fortunate there for the side of MY. Still Lilgun. They're going to take the time to farm up a bit longer. Say X123, he did get the boots of travel, but wants to go after the Dragonlance next, which is absolutely fair enough. Seri, he's going to show up at the top lane. He's going to be fine to just back, and kind of interesting that Seri, he's not bothering to try and rush the Aghanim Scepter that we generally see. He's actually going back for the mech into the Guardian Greaves. Interesting build-up, but I suppose when you're fighting this often, the mech is going to have a lot more value.
Definitely. Like, you want to keep your team alive from the aggression that Lilgun is going to look to pump out. You just want to kind of be sort of an aura hero in this game for MY. The Ags is still going to be good down the line, but there's no immediate pressure to get it, because the Ags will just allow you to shield 2 heroes at once, and you kind of want to keep everyone alive in the entrance. As we've seen, if Lilgun can't get the pick off first, MY's damage in a prolonged fight, it's just a lot better because they've got Ion Shell running, because they've got Ricky just constantly bouncing around, they've got Luna that can right click, they've got the hold from the Brew, and MY, they know they're strong. They smoke up as Tree. Hookshot is still ready to go. Seri, the wall's back up. They're going to look to collapse in that bot tower.
Bottom lane. They seem to want the Timber. They have got plenty of damage for Nomlog here. Smoke, just about a break, but they want the perfect initiation. In fact, never mind, they might not want the Timber. They may want to try and find somebody else. But it seems like Nomlog's going to be their only option. BB. Show himself farming some creeps. Rocket Flare going to give the vision, and there's your hookshot. They aren't going to waste any more time. They'll make the jump in, but there is TPs coming in to try and help, but no, they'll cancel. It was only Ace 12 trying to come in to help out. And in the end, he decides against it. Instead, Lilgun, they're going to start trying to pressure that mid-tier 1 and maybe take down the tower. But it looks like the presence of Leonak is going to be enough to force them to back here.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Yeah, I think the side of Lilgun are just a bit too spread out in the map to really get anything done. Ace is being run down.
Yeah, he is. He's probably going to have to commit egg, and he doesn't want to. So he does end up dying. X123, he's underneath the sentry for 1 more second. He's going to be alright, I think. He survives.
Has been denied.
Yeah. BB just always in these situations where he could maybe get jumped on, still lives by a sliver of HP. If Hishki gets a good dust finger, that could be a nice kill.
He doesn't need the dust, John. He just needs the range, and he's... Oh, that's a nice trick to the trade. Oh, he knew about it, and Hishki... You've got to tip the man. You've got to tip him, right? Like, you miss a finger like that, you've got to give the man a tip.
Oh, yeah. Like, you have got to. That was great reaction time from BB. And again, he's been playing on edge with that Ricky this entire game. And that's a big tool taken away from Lilgun. While all of that was happening, they managed to kill off Sanctity bot. They could look to wrap around here at Nomlog.
Yeah, Nomlog. Cods is out. He can still chain away, and looks like that's going to be enough as the rest of the team does now collapse in. Still got to be careful. Eclipse is there. They just went right into their death, it looks like, as Nomlog. He's still just barely surviving as he does back off, and now X123 is going to join the fray. Meanwhile, Leonak on the left side, he's just taking care of Hishki on that Lion. He might give his own life away for this kill. It will be worth it if he does get it, but Leonak, he's out of options. It looks like he has just gone too far, and he is going to die. Lilgun, they do manage to get away safely and even find themselves a kill, as now even Tigger. He's still in danger, but BB, he's got the vision on Sanctity. Nice hook shot away, but they found the Ricky instead. He's going to trick the trade, and he has some blink strikes, and he'll be fine. Seri, well, he may not be fine. He does not have Sunder. Oh, excuse me, not Sunder, but rather Surge. He could not surge away.
Yeah, he was holding on to the mech for a long time as well. Could have probably used it to save himself, or at least stall out a little bit more, but would have still lined up dead. The side of Lilgun, they are still holding on to the egg. Finger is going to be back up in a minute, but they're going into the jungle.
Yeah, X123, he's just going to get to work, and for a Viper, Tigger on the clockwork, really going to be just short work for him. And this is that real big spike for the Viper, right? Like, this is when this hero is a real nuisance. You can't really fight him 1v1 like that. You've just got to run.
No, he's got the move speed to chase you down. They've been really good at just force staffing their Viper forward as well to ensure X123 is always within range to get the hits off. The side of Lilgun are just kind of lining up for a top play. They're going to look to shove in the top tier 2. The side of MY, I think, they're going to throw in Seri to defend. He can at least spam out the Iron Shell to clear out the wave. Tower is going to take some damage. The tower push here from Lilgun outside of Lina is not the fastest. So as long as Sanctity's not there, the tower's not going to melt. But the numbers are still up. Looks like they will fully commit to taking a tier 2.
Hookshot ready. Here you go. There's a lot of heroes around. This is probably too risky of a fight for MY to try and take for Lilgun. I think they'd be more than happy if MY wanted to try and jump in here. They will not. Instead, they're going to try and pressure the mid-tier 1. And it'll be a free tier 1 tower. But now Lilgun, getting the first tier 2 of the game, they do get the outpost away from MY.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They're shutting down the XP per minute gain from MY, and that does hurt MY a fair bit, especially for Leonak. When you're in a support Brewmaster, levels can be hard to come by, along with farm. So losing out and just that trickle, that steady trickle of XP per minute is kind of painful. They do manage to get some D wards off in the jungle, so they take off the vision game here of Lilgun. They are starting to run in with Leonak.
Ace 12, he's just going to Icarus dive out. You can still try for a hook, and they will, but they're going to go onto the line instead. And Hishki, he has a lot of friends around. They just shred Tigger on the clockwork. And well, Leonak, he tried to go for the split, but he knows he probably needs the back right now. He's actually going to go back in for a little bit more. Just gets a Cyclone off onto Sanctity, and that's going to be enough. However, Lilgun, they could try for a Roshan play, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
And the side of MY can't really give this one away, but they don't have the outpost to TP2, they don't have the mid-tier 1. So Lilgun's just going to be able to take this one fairly freely, and this is going to enable them to keep playing aggressive. Again, they don't want to stall this game out, they have to play fast, they need to make stuff happen with the Aegis, maybe line up for another tier 2, or if they feel frisky, can try to check for the high ground, but MY is doing a good job of kind of being disruptive. Like, they're getting a bit of a chase. It's only on to Leonak again.
Leonak. Oh, Earth Spike. Wasn't there in time. Here you go. He'll give him a tip. Wasn't really that impressive, Tigger, but you know. I guess why not?
Yeah. You got to keep that morale up. Keep your teammates happy, of course.
Yep.
Leonak has been copping the short end of the stick in a lot of these fights, along with Tigger, and he's just trying to save for the Ags. It's that moment for Brewmasters where you definitely want the Ags up soon, and it's just about patience now for Leonak. He has been doing a good job of just committing that split when he knows he needs to save a teammate, or when they need to line up for a gank. It has been pretty on point. The side of Lilgun right now, their farm distribution's looking good. Sanctity, X123, and Nomlog are all fairly even. BB and Seri have taken a bit of a step back, just enable KNP here. So it's all about going all in on the Luna, hoping this investment pays off. Once KNP has the BKB, a lot of the damage output of Lilgun disappears. Their Lina isn't quite geared for right click yet, although the Crystallis is coming out for Sanctity at some point. Viper's DPS, of course, gets shot down as well with the BKB up. So I think MY, maybe just a little bit of patience. Wait for the BKB to be up, and that's when they're going to look to re-engage. They don't have too many objectives under threat. Bot tier 1, it's 21 minutes in. It's not the most important tower to throw bodies for.
Here's that bot tier 1, no problem. Ishki. He's back to the outpost. I believe they spotted out Leonak there. And they know he's around somewhere. Leonak, he's being a little bit cheeky in this tree line. I guess this is a nice way to set up from the backside if you wanted to try and pressure the mid tier 2, but that's not what his team's doing, so he is going to TP up. They are going after that bottom tier, or rather top tier 1 instead. You know, this whole time, KMP, he's been farming very well in this Luna, right? Like, he's still going to be a pretty big issue later on if this keeps up. Like, I don't think that Lilgun's applying enough pressure and getting enough objectives to make this draft worthwhile yet.
No, I mean, we talked about it from that drafting phase. Like, Lilgun has to play a really quick game. They had these early travels come out. They were playing pretty quick early on, and they've just kind of gotten into this farming pattern right now where they're shoving in the bot lane. Maybe they can get some pressure on the tier 2 for a response out. I think MY don't particularly care as the rest of their lanes are shoved out enough that they aren't going to face the threat of multiple tier 2s falling. There are TPs coming in on the tier 3 though. That is just Seri, and Seri can kind of just one-man hold off the wave anyway with the Iron Shot, so they don't need to fully commit. There is a bit of a wraparound here though. Tigger does have an invis. Could look for the hook.
There it is. Onto the leaner. Nice Cogs pushback, splitting up the team fight. It's fine if you lose the clock, but where's the follow-up? BB, he went into the back lines. They kind of ignored Sanctity there for a second. Can they get the damage out? Sanctity's still alive, but the illusions, they will get it done. They'll get through the Aegis onto Nomlong. He's going to be fine. But KMP's taking a lot of damage, but he gets the Lucent Beam out onto the Lion. Hishki's gone into the egg as well. I don't think they can burst it down in time. He's got no help. The egg is going to stun him up, and he's going to go drop. I mean, you lost Nomlong anyway. BB's still going to work. And he will jump back in onto Ace 12 now, but you've still got X123 around. So make the jump back in on the Ricky. Trades out. LSA does not land. BB still trying to run as the Surge is there now. And it looks like BB is barely going to make it out. Bit unfortunate for him though is that egg, it was just freely there and it was only KMP hitting it. So KMP, it kind of felt like he died for really no reason.
Yeah, I think he sort of hesitated first to hit the egg. He hesitated to pull back as well, realizing that he was the only one, and that's, again, one of the shortcomings for MY. A good positioned egg coming out from Lilgun can really make it tough for MY to take these big teamfight engagements, and that was a really good dive coming out there from our Phoenix Ace, just getting the right spot at the right time. But MY still wins that fight. I mean, even if they lost Luna, they managed to take the Aegis away. They got the kills they want. They hold off from the tier 2 push, and they kind of take away any sort of advancement for Lilgun in terms of meaningful map control with the Aegis. So they're going to have to recommit onto the tier 2. It is at 76 HP, so one little poke will get that done, but they can't advance into the high ground until one of those tier 2s, or that tier 2 faults on the side so they can line up for more. And MY, they're still farming up fast on KNP. He is going for his own Daedalus next, waiting for the Crystallis first, and his damage output is going to skyrocket. The BKB has also given him a lot of frontline protection as well, and that has been more than enough to give him presence in these fights. Still Lilgun, they're smoked up. They don't have the egg, but everything else is up.
And it is. They are in the triangle. It's very hard to try and go into this as Leonak. He has Primal Split in 1 second, and there's your hook shot, and they're going to start the fight. BB's in with the BKB as well. Onto X123. They might get the clockwork, but what's it going to cost them? They've dropped the egg on the low ground, but everyone's just going to avoid the stun duration from there. Instead, now they can reinitiate. Onto the Lena. Sanctity is going to be right underneath the wall, and now the Eclipse comes in. A great vacuum out from Seri. Just a perfect team fight here from MY. His Ace 12, he does get out, but X123 is going to be left behind. They just read the movement. They know they were coming with a smoke, and they just easily set up on the high ground.
Yeah, it's just coming out fine now for MY. Like, we're at the point of the game of 26 minutes in where it just feels like Lilgun's cores have not done enough on the map to slow down KNP, to clear out the objectives, to start pressuring key points, stop the farm from coming through from MY. And it almost feels the same as game 1, except game 1 they had greedy cores that were sharing farm. This time they have fast cores trying to share farm up against only one big fast core from MY. Like, Luna just flash farms real quick when left alone, and is just way bigger now. Has a major item over everyone else. They're always kind of forced to run around the map here. They might get Leonak at least.
They may, but Baby's going to come in from the backside. Sanctity, he's going to keep trying to chase him down. A light strike array is not going to land though. Meanwhile, Baby, he's still just getting to work with his own BKB, and now the hook shot's in Tigger. He's going to try and help him escape. They'll get the TP away. Tigger, he might die for the cause, but he won't mind too much. You'll be fine with that. And this is that part of the game where MY just starts taking over with their drafts, right? Like 4k net worth lead now. This Viper, it just feels so lackluster at this point. It just doesn't do anything. Like at level 20, he's gonna get the plus 70 damage. which does make you hit substantially harder. But is it enough? It's yet to be seen.
I don't think it compares to a Luna with a Daedalus up, to the Ags being up on Leonak. Like, the greed has paid off. They've got the double primal splits now. Leonak's going to be a lot more active, or at least he can make more plays back-to-back for his team and just be a massive nuisance in prolonged team fights. Even Sari's BB's fairly close to the nullifier. Once that's up, Ghost Scepters aren't going to save you anymore. You can just run in, get the isolation, get the control, and there's not going to be much left for Lilgun to play around with. Like, they're not going to have that solution just yet. Sanctity is still trying to save up for the Daedalus. Maybe switch out to the Hurricane Pike before that. And it does become a battle of like two cores on MY's end in the Ricky and the Luna up against this one core that scales into late. Just all down Sanctity to get that farm to be active on the map. Down the line, I think X123, once he gets, like, say, the Scotty up and maybe the AC or Shiva's up, that's when the Viper starts to feel good again. But that just takes so much farm on this here, and it's going to take a lot longer for him to catch up here.
Fair enough. He's going to be going for that Eye of Scotty next on that Viper, but I mean, that's going to help a little bit, at least against the Luna once she does have a Satanic up, but right now she doesn't even need lifesteal. Feels like it's not necessary. Now it's time to set up again. To go through that mid lane. There's Lilgun. We are going to have a smoke up here from MY first. Lilgun going to stand their ground in the triangle, preparing for their own smoke. But MY, they're going to go straight after the Roshan. Nothing's really scouted this out yet. However, there's your scan out now. They do realize it's happening. It is actually going down fairly fast, so X123 is going to get in now with another Toxin. Back in, MY. They're not giving up on it yet. KMP will get to work. Right on the edge of that Roshan pit.
Radiant's top tower is
It's
under
still a
attack.
very good kind of fight here for Lilgun to take, I'd say, and they do jump in, but they've lost Hishki already, and now Nomlok, he's already gone! The Eclipse comes out, Sanctity needs to run the hell away as BB, he'll just chase him down, and they've got the kill!
Oh boy.
Make it another. Another one. Ace 12, he's got an Icarus knife, but the vacuum drags him right back in. That's a 4 for nothing. And a Roshan Shards Aegis cheese. All of it the way of MY.
Yeah, they're going to have a ton to play with. I'm not sure who they give the shard to. They pass the cheese and the shard on to BB. So the sleeping dart is here for our Ricky. Even more control for MY. Lilgun, their high ground defense, it's so-so. LSA, Egg, issue is there are no heroes. So they're just going to be able to siege onto mid, maybe switch down to bot. Top tier 2 still stands, unless someone just kind of splits out and gets that done. They can't get Megas yet, but they're going to get a ton of space after this one. And Lilgun, a perfect egg has to come out. Everything has to be executed perfectly for this defense. There's just so many tools on MY with the cheese, with the Aegis up. I don't know if they can do it back to back without really getting all the heroes they need in that first initiation.
It'll be one lane. They don't want to throw the Aegis away on KMP, so they're just going to back off to safety and get a reset. There's no real rush here, right? Like, you know, MY already knows their draft is going to outscale the side of Lilgun later on. They already have. 13k net worth now. They'll just control the map. They'll get that net worth even higher. And quite frankly, Lilgun with their draft, there's really not much they can do about it. The best you can hope for is defend high ground and hope that Sanctity just kind of gets that Daedalus up and starts dealing some real damage. But even with the Daedalus, I don't know if I see it.
It's too difficult. Like, the Ricky can just jump in, kind of isolate the Lina, force the focus onto him, and he can just play around with the tricks, rip through the backline instead, get all sorts of work done there. There's just enough heroes between MY to toss their bodies between the Lina and everyone else. So they can really protect their big win condition on MY's end. For Lilgun, I mean, we see what happens when they try to initiate. Like Nomlog comes in, he doesn't have a BKB. The pipe at this point just doesn't protect him enough from just the Eclipse even from KNP. and he just kind of falls flat.
this-
So their frontline tankiness is just not there, and there is a smoke out from MY sneaking around.
Yeah, they drew a line to the bot racks. They're going through the base into the bot racks. That was the line. And look, they're going to try and make the jump in past the tier 4s, I think. They're just waiting. Oh, there's your sleeping dart. But it's not going to amount to anything. I think they wanted something apart from the timber. They will not be able to get it.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Still
under
not going to
attack.
stop that push. I mean, it's a Luna really excels at the high ground, and they can constantly annoy and at least slow it down a bit, but eventually, if they just want to play it safe, they'll still be able to slowly chip away at it. Someone will have to go back to D-push top, though, and that is going to be BB. So they're going to lack the numbers here on the bot lane. They're just going to keep playing it safe. As you mentioned, no rush. They could just wait for more farm, wait for the Scotty to be up on KNP, wait for the finished nullifier on BB. And once you have those tools, like with the nullifier especially, you're not going to be saved by Force Staff. Ghost Scepter is not going to work. You can just get to town on anyone that jumps out.
Gonna have a quick reconnection, it looks like here for Tigger. There's the graph there with the net worth. 12k the way of MY. Experience, it's even more than 12k. And dare I look at Dota Plus, it is at 98%. And it was actually at 99 about a minute ago. So I'm not sure what happened in that 1 minute, but 98% right now for MY. And quite frankly, I'd say that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, they've got control on the map. They've got the 12k lead. They've got the heroes that scale a lot better. Their execution has been a lot smoother as well compared to Lilgun. Like, it's just, they missed out on timings on Lilgun. They had to play a lot quicker than this. They kind of just took their time, especially after that first Aegis. They just kind of relaxed, tried to shove in bot. They didn't go hunting as much. MY played their cards right. They hit around on the top lane, on the opposite side of the river as to where Lilgun was playing, and that was Lilgun's big opportunity with the first Aegis. They just couldn't do anything with it, and now they're kind of paying the price. The Scotty's up and KNP, more stats. Great healing reduction as well, especially for that Timb. And they do finish up the nullifier, so all that control, all the saves against Ricky, it's not going to work anymore.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Top lane, Primal Split is there. Nomlog, no, they don't want him. They want Sanctity. But Leonak, he's not going to be able to get the leader. He'll lose 2 of the Brooding straight off the bat. Still, the tier 3 tower is dropping very, very fast. And there's your sleeping dart out. It's a Nomlog, but he's going to be fine. Again, it's kind of a slow chipping process right now. This KNP, he's losing quite a bit of HP now to this Viper. They're going to surge him away and bring him back in. He's still got that Aegis. He's got that damn shard with the Lucent Beam that's so annoying to play against. They won't be able to finish off the tier 3. So Lilgun, they are going to hold a bit longer. And I guess this is the only plan they can really hope for, is just keep buying time for Sanctity.
They buy enough time that the Aegis does expire on MY. So it's just a bit of a reset here for KNP. I don't think he minds too much. They've got the cheese if they want to pass that along to the Luna instead of the Ricky. And the side of MY just hold the high ground, like on the triangle. There's no way for Lilgun to kind of step outside her base, to get some farm back up, to kind of play catch up at this point. They're forced to keep holding, and that's choking them out. Like, they need progress, especially on Sanctity. Finish his items up. He at least has the top lane to keep getting creep wave on, but if he steps a bit too far out, he could just get hookshot and run down.
Absolutely true. Things are out. It seems like they knew X123 was around there somewhere, but they were going to have to go in blind, so they won't make the attempt. Smoke up again. They want to try and put a lid on this one. X123 is going to be around to break the smoke. Tigger is going to get the vision. Hookshot is there. They've got the line. That's the target they want to start on. However, well, never mind. Hishki's already gone, and so is X123. KMP just blows them up. Now BB, he's onto the timber, and it looks like this game is coming to a close. No buybacks on either of those two cores. And MY, they're not going to wait. They're going for the Megas or the Tier 4s. Either one.
Radiant's bottom tower
Yep.
is under
You just
attack.
dig in. Respawn times are short. It's just about a minute. So there's still potential there to come back in as long as they don't take further losses. Ace has to stay alive. They need that egg when the respawns are back up. And at least they de-shove the top lane, but there's still enough to play with here on MY. Forced to buy back on the line. Bot rack's already gone. MY, they're going to go for the full mega creeps first. They're going to play it safe.
They are. Buyback is there on Hishki. KMP just straight to work. These racks is not going to be too hard of a task for him.
Radiant's top barracks are under Radiant's top barracks has fallen.
Seri is there. Big vacuum. Hook shot does connect on two, and they got the Sanctity Lena. This game is well and truly over now. They call it. They've had enough. GG. MY just proved to be the better team here today, getting a 2-0 victory over Lilgun. Unfortunately for Lilgun, you know, they're looking stronger as time goes on, John, but this wasn't going to be the Pro Series for them. They will be knocked down to the closed qualifiers.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Lilgun, but MY plays spectacularly clean in both games. This game, it was a bit rougher. We were seeing Lilgun kind of get some wins on the map early on, but not enough to really leverage their early lead. They did have the lead fairly early on, but they couldn't widen it. They couldn't stop the farm on KNP. When they got the Aegis, they just kind of spent it shoving in the bot lane, not the most pivotal lane at that point. They weren't eyeing tier 2s at that time. They couldn't even force the high ground at any point. So they just missed their timings on their natural power spikes on those heroes. MY, and they stalled out long enough. They had win conditions on the Luna Ricky. Their lanes were really nice to play around with as well. The Pause 5 Brewmaster from Leonak paying off spectacularly well in the top lane. And of course, the classic Darkseer Clockwork on that bot lane was painful for Lilgun to really counteract. Like, they had a Viper that could hold its own, but Viper Phoenix, the damage output is great. They were forced to get dive level 1. And that gave MY enough to play with in that lane to kind of stabilize right into their level 2, level 3 spikes. And it just rolled from there. So well played to MY. Unfortunately for Lilgun, they're out. But MY, they do have one more series to play. And we will still find the opponent they'll play there after the result of the upper bracket match coming up next.
Yeah, and as you can see, it has been updated. It is going to be Army Geniuses against Execration coming right up about 10 to 15 minutes. But till then, it is MLP and johnxfire. Excuse me. We'll be right back after that break to see how Game 1 of this upper bracket finals does end up.